Today, I'm super excited to talk to you about this brand spanking new battery that's gonna hit the market from LiTime. I've been asking for this battery, someone to make this battery for more budget conscious fishermen, and it's finally here. This is a Group 31 size, 24 volt, 100 amp hour battery, and you're gonna wanna stick around for the capacity test results on this thing because it may just blow your mind. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So what is so special about this battery? It is a 100 amp hour, 24 volt battery that fits in a Group 31 tray. I can almost not even end the video right there. Typically folks are coming from 2 lead acid batteries in series to make 24 volts. And when they start looking at lithiums, they have this fork in the road. You can go with 2 12 volt batteries again, or save a little room, simplify your installation with a 24 volt battery. Up until today with this battery, at this price point, you've been limited to a 24 volt 50 amp hour battery. That's essentially the equivalent of 2 lead acid batteries that are brand new. And that goes a long way for a lot of people. 7-8 hours of really good, hearty fishing for most folks is what that battery will do for you. If you want to push 10, 12 a weekend of fishing, you have to buy a second battery to get there. And this battery solves that problem with just one installation, and it fits in the majority of boats. That's awesome, especially at this price point. So when we're talking capacities, let's get there for a minute. I'm going to talk in watts for a minute. The 24 volt 50 amp hour battery is about the same as 2 lead acid batteries. That's 1280 watts or watt hours. This battery, let me double check, is 2560 watt hours. That's a ton of power. Like, this is a weekend of fishing battery. This is more energy storage than my 36 volt 50 amp hour battery by like a third. And that's why I'm so excited about it. It's because it's going to work for so many people that have the ability to put a Group 31 in their boat. They're going to save some space. They're not going to have to run 2 batteries anymore. And it's going to give them a ton of power without even having to look at it, which is super nice. It is a bit taller. So if you are running a Group 31 today and you are height constrained in any way, you do need to pay attention to that with this battery. You can see it's got a bit of a forehead to it. It is around 9.5 inches tall, and if I ran the numbers on the 36 volt, it's about 8.5. It's about a full inch taller, but it still fits in a Group 31 tray. So if you're running like an enclosed box or something like that, you definitely want to check the height. But as long as you've got, some clearance on top of it, make sure you got room for the lugs and the terminals so they're not getting in the way of anything. It's a little bit taller, but like I said, you're getting a ton of power about it. And I'm super jacked about that. And I'm hoping that they could take this configuration, this case, and make a 36 volt version sometime in the future. LiTime, if you're listening, I think that's an opportunity to get like a 70, 80 amp hour Group 31 36 volt battery, which would also make a lot of folks happy. Moving on. What does this thing weigh? It weighs around 44 pounds. So it's a little bit hefty for a lithium battery, but like I said, it's like the 4 lead acid batteries of power. It's gonna have a little weight to it. So 44 pounds, and that's very energy dense. Like, you're not, for lithium iron phosphate, that's what you're gonna get. Fits in your boat, you're gonna be ready to rock. The other thing with lithium iron phosphate chemistry, you're gonna get that what they're saying on their site is 6,000 cycles at 100% depth of discharge. That's an enormous amount of cycles at 100% DOD, but that's what they're claiming on their website, which is very strong. Even if you've got half that, that's going to serve the far majority of people out there if you can even deplete this battery in a full day, which, good luck. I would love to see that challenge. Also, we want to touch on battery management features. This does have LTCP, low temperature charge protection. That's going to be for you folks that need to charge your battery when it's really cold out, or may have your battery in a charger when it's really cold out. That will keep it from lithium plating, or keep it from trying to charge when it's freezing, which is no bueno on lithium iron phosphate cells. It's got all of your basic and your overcurrent, your over voltage, your low voltage protection, your short circuit protection, all that good stuff is all built into their batteries. It's almost not even worth comparing that type of detail anymore. Everybody's running that stuff. There's a lot of pretty solid batteries out there from a BMS standpoint. This one does have my requirement here these days, Bluetooth capability. To me, you really should, you should just buy a battery with Bluetooth. It's super helpful to just know what's going on and make sure that you have enough charge. Make sure your charger did charge overnight, all those things. But like I said, if you run this battery in a 24-volt trolling motor, you probably won't have to pull up that app all day because you're going to have a ton of power. So let's talk about a couple other things. If you do order this battery, it's going to show up, and much like all the other batteries that I get, in like an asleep or a shipping mode. And you're going to need to wake it up. That's what the charger is going to do for you, or any 24-volt source that you may have. So when you plug in your charger, if it's lithium compatible, which it absolutely must be, it will send a pulse of the BMS. That'll wake it up, and it will show voltage and all the things. If you just take it out of the box, put it in your boat, hook up your trolling motor, there's a good chance it's not going to be doing anything for you. You have to wake it up to make sure that everything is functioning and the battery is ready to rock for you. So make sure you do that. One other thing they did include with this thing, and I think this is very telling, is they gave you a wrench. And the only battery I've ever received with a wrench is this one. And that's telling me something. People do not tighten their battery terminals enough. And so they're trying to help solve that problem by including this. Please do not make them hand tight. These are not wing nuts like on your lead acid battery. You will generate a ton of heat on the top of these terminals if you do not tighten them. This is literally all you need. You don't need to kill it with a giant breaker bar, but you need to get it nice and snug and horse it a little bit and call it good. Kind of a public service announcement. Make sure you tighten your terminals on all your batteries more than hand tight. This is just a 13mm hex. Super handy to keep in the boat too. I mean, how handy is that thing? What I would probably do is just zip tie it, to the handle here or something like that, so I can make sure I have it if I needed to take something loose for whatever reason while I'm out on the water. Pretty cool idea. That said, I mentioned it earlier, but I did take out my 36-volt battery, and I've been running this one. I do run a brushless motor, so I can run 24 or 36 volts, and it has an insane amount of power. Like, I've gone out and I come back with like 87% state of charge left on this battery after I'm done fishing for 6 or so hours. So, I mean, you can really run this thing hard if you wanted to, and I've had no issues with it with my Garmin Force. It's been running fantastic. Chargers, I do not have a LiTime charger. I think it's 29.2 volts over on the other side there. Make sure you have a lithium charger. They do have a 2-bank charger, which I'm a big fan of. So I run the 36-volt, 12-volt charger, runs 2 voltages. I'll put in the description the LiTime version that has a 24-volt leg and a 12-volt leg. And that's really helpful for like you fellow bass tracker guys or smaller boat guys, where you've got a cranking battery that needs a lead acid 12-volt charge, and maybe you run this 24-volt battery that you need a 24-volt leg on. That's going to get it done for you. You cannot use your current like 3-bank 12-volt charger to charge this battery. You have to have a bank or leads that will be outputting 24 volts, 29.2 I think it is, to charge this battery. That said, we also ran a capacity test on this thing, and it took way longer than the other batteries has ever taken. So we're going to put it up on the capacity call-out board here. So we've got a LiTime Group 31 24-volt 100 amp hour battery. I don't know if you could see this. I'm going to do my best. Look at that, 116%. So not only is it nominally 100 amp hours and more than enough, but I pulled an extra 16% or so out of this thing, which is insane. Like, that is so cool. And as this battery does age, as you do cycle it, whatever, you can be very confident that you're going to have plenty of capacity and get what you paid for and then some. So let's go ahead and put it up on the board here. Real quick, I want to ask you if you found this video helpful at all. We are really trying to get to 25,000 subscribers. We're at 15 and change. If you found it helpful, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for us. It really helps us out. Let's get back to it. You can see this thing is definitely a high performer from a capacity side. We will have some discount codes in the video description. I think it's GMFS10 is good for 10% off the LiTime site. And then we'll probably have an Amazon link or something there as well. And I'll also link some chargers for you to check out. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section. Please don't email me. I get so many emails, and that way if they're in the comment section, hopefully others can see your questions and we can help answer more of them, more than just in your email inbox. That'll definitely help us out a bunch. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next video.